Good evening, folks. I'm here. I'm the eye candy. Kelly, isn't that what you told me? Yeah, awkward. No, what we're actually going to do is we're going to bring in the colors and the heavy-duty national anthem. I'm John Knudsen. I'll be your MC tonight, but we're going to invite Scout Troop. It's Troop 148. 148 is going to present the colors, and if you'd stand for our national anthem, we'd greatly appreciate that.
Please remove all headgear. Color guard advance. Color guard, please post the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red red, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Color guard, please return to rank.
All right, you can be seated. But let's hear it one more time for the O'Briens. I was going to sing just like that, but I can't. Again, my name is John Knudsen. I'll be your MC tonight. And after MCing last year's event, Kelly Burrows asked me if I'd MC it again. I was the 73rd person asked this year. So I'm proud to be here, and thanks for asking me. I get myself in trouble in front of a microphone, and you'll probably find that 2 or 3 times tonight. Just bear with us, but I don't know why they keep asking me to do it. You know, one thing I asked last year, and again I'm going to ask the same thing this year, is if we can agree on one thing for tonight, we're going to have a little fun, okay? Tonight's a night to have some fun, to laugh and to celebrate, and we all know how much good laughing can do when you're going through the situations that you do, how good it can be for your soul. So we may be a little irreverent, we may be a little goofy and tell a joke or two. And I'd like you, whether it's through treatment or old age, let whatever hair you have down tonight. So we can, if we can agree on that, we'll be good. We all have stories, don't we? You know, well, recently, being around just today, I had a guy come up to me and he started telling me the sad story, and I've been listening to him, and he says, I recently went to the doctor, and the doc gave me the terrible news that I have terminal cancer, I only have 6 months to live. I said, oh my gosh, I said, I'm so sorry, what did the doctor recommend? And he said I should move to Minnesota and become a Vikings fan. I said to him, I was a little confused. I said, well, will that cure your cancer? And he said, well, I asked the doc the same thing. He said, but the doc said to him, he says, no, but 6 months of being a Viking fan will make the time seem much, much longer. How many Packer fans do we have out here? All right. How many Viking fans do we have? Yeah, thank you two for coming. This is Packer country here, you know that? For you Viking fans, I'll talk a little louder and a little slower so you understand. Were there more Viking fans? There might have. Let's hear again. How many Packer fans? Now we're talking. All right. You know, like I said, we all have stories. The one thing cancer does is it makes indelible marks on us. And my story isn't unique, it's just different than yours. And mine comes from the caregiver perspective. I had a real great experience recently where an idea that I've had finally came to fruition to make a couple of videos that'll be meant to be used online for fundraising for the American Cancer Society. I got involved with a good friend of mine by the name of Jillian Nodland from Picture Factory. And if you haven't heard of Jillian and this company, their last effort produced a short independent film called Anna's Playground that was nominated for an Academy Award. And some of you know in a previous life at RPG and Resco, we used to do these little Packer Viking videos, and that was the idea that I had here, and the premise is going to be what I want to do to cancer. And I got a hold of Jillian. What Jillian ended up doing with these movies or these little short 1-minute segments is really incredible. Tonight, before we do the luminary in the carpeted room outside there, we're going to show those 3 1-minute videos. If Steve and Terry Wilcox are here, and they're going to try to help and see if we can show them. If you haven't seen them, if you go onto the Relay for Life Facebook page in Hudson, the 3 little stories are called David's Fight, Latasha's Fight, and John's Fight. And I'd encourage you to look at them. And it's one little thing that I felt I could do to help raise money for the American Cancer Society for cancer research. So my tough time personally came back in 2006. My father, Len, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in April, and he passed away in less than 30 days. I love my dad dearly, and I still miss him a lot, but my father's death at 79 was pretty easy to reconcile and deal with because he led such a full life. He was a great guy, but he led a full life, and while it was tough to deal with, it wasn't nearly as tough as what was coming for our family. My sister Lori and I were pretty close. She was 3 years younger than I am, and she was diagnosed with a brain tumor at 33 years old. She was married, she worked at Anderson Windows, and at the time she had 6 children. And I remember how stunned I was when I heard the news from one of my older sisters, who was a surgical nurse, that Lori had a brain tumor. And I remember asking her on the telephone as we were talking, I said, is it malignant or benign? And then I remember feeling kind of stupid because I couldn't remember which one was which, good or bad, you know, but I'll never forget the answer she gave me. And to this day I remember she said, it doesn't matter. With a brain tumor, if they grow, you die. And so it was a tough journey for my sister Lori and her kids and our whole family. And very early into her treatment and a couple of brain surgeries combined with chemo, radiation, and treatment, she had another life-changing showstopper to deal with. As she was dealing with her situation, her husband decided to start dating because she wasn't paying enough attention to him. And as if the brain tumor wasn't enough, now Lori had to deal with this life-changing situation with her family. And while many of us in the family were seriously thinking of harming that selfish young man, my sister Lori took the high road. And she did divorce him, but she raised those 6 kids for the next 10 years on her own, working full-time at Anderson Window. And she consistently told the kids how much her father loved them. And when she was gone, she wanted her father to take care of them. And Lori passed away in September. just a few months after my dad at the age of 43. So while I haven't had cancer myself, it's obviously affected my family, just like it affects all of yours. And I know going through that tough time, it was tough for me to allow myself to laugh and to have fun. For some inexplicable reason, you almost feel like you shouldn't. But I remember I always felt better when I did have fun. So let's have some fun tonight. Let's celebrate and let's do what we have to do because we have the memories of those we love, those that are still with us, and we have our own lives as they are today. So let's have some fun tonight, right? All right. I'm feeling a little bit like a pastor at church. All of you that got here early went immediately to the back. We've got the front row wide open here. We've got all these people standing over here. Do you guys want to come in, or do I look better from farther away? Yeah. All right. There is plenty of room here. We have some takers. There we go. All right. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to introduce a 5.5-year breast cancer survivor and the queen bee for the American Cancer Society. She's the community relations staff partner for St. Croix and Pierce County and the handler for Daisy the cat. You didn't think I did it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce Kelly Burrows.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It is just amazing to see all these wonderful faces and knowing that weather made some changes here. I would like to first off thank the wonderful committee that are in the orange shirts behind me. They stepped up, made an executive decision, and I think it really was the right one. And we also want to thank the Queen candidates and from Hudson that did all these beautiful decorations for us. So we appreciate that. And I just want to thank all of you again because, as John mentioned, I'm a 5.5, almost 6 years in October. I was diagnosed after having my first mammogram. And we all have stories. And it's just wonderful coming together. And I'll never forget my first relay after I was diagnosed. And I still get choked up about it, knowing how great everyone is to come together to support all these wonderful survivors. So thank you for survivors for being here so that we can honor you tonight. We really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank all of our corporate sponsors, the Hudson Hospital and Clinics, who also were kind enough to have a nice little survivors reception. So survivors, if you didn't get a chance to have a little treat beforehand, there's still some left over there. So you're welcome to do that. Also, the County Market, Wisconsin Credit Union, the Hudson Downtown Retailers, SSG, Hudson Physicians, Anderson Windows, and Family Fresh. They are all our corporate sponsors, and that's a really great list of people, so thank them. We also have our media sponsor, Thunder Country, and Ron is over there right now. So if you want to get interviewed and be on the radio, he's the guy you want to talk to. So thanks, Ron, for being here. And the print is small, so now I have to put my glasses on for the rest of it. So, and thanks to our event sponsors, the friends and family of Ken Sorensen, Skip Ballard, our wonderful DJ, Associated Bank, Hudson Insurance Agency, Picture Factory, and Catalyst Sports Medicine, which John referred to. They were very instrumental in this wonderful video that you'll have a chance to see later tonight. Central Bank, Column Resource Group, Gagnon Inc., and Enterprise. So, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful time. John referred, I'm a Vikings fan, I know. But you guys made some good noise for the Packers, and you made some good noise for the Vikings. So how about making some really good noise about let's finishing the fight against cancer? Thank you, and have a great evening.
Okay, so we got to get back to this Packer Viking thing again, huh? Like all the Packer fans on this side of the gym, we'll have a food fight. We're going to settle this thing. No, we won't do that. You know, I hope most of you guys that are survivors have had positive stories about your interactions with medical teams, but once in a while, I think, as I did with my family, you may have too, have encountered a doctor, a nurse, an oncologist, surgeon, someone in the system who doesn't seem to share the same interest and enthusiasm to improve your condition as you have. And so one day comes along where one of these crusty old curmudgeons, a very arrogant old oncologist named Dr. Giovanni, dies. And because of his poor attitude, terrible bedside manner, and total disregard for his patients, he goes straight to hell. Sorry, kids. On arrival, the devil says to him, he says, Doc, I'm going to give you 3 choices, which is far more than you ever gave any of your patients. Whichever door you choose, that's how you will spend eternity. So the doc opens the first door and he sees a mob of people sitting on a floor covered with spikes. And he thinks that'd be terribly uncomfortable to spend eternity that way. So he goes to the next door and he sees a humongous crowd of despicable people lying down in a sea of maggots. And he thinks, well, that might be better than spikes, but still, you know, and so he checks the third door, and there's far less people there, but they're chatting happily, and they're all sipping coffee, and the only problem is they're up to their knees in manure. And he says, thank God. He said, it smells terrible, but at least I can drink coffee and be able to talk to people. This wouldn't be so bad. So he enters and joins the group for what will be his eternity. He's about to take his first sip of coffee when the announcement on the loudspeaker comes on and says, coffee break is over, back to standing on your heads. That'd be a tough way. You got it. Next up, I'd like to introduce a glutton for punishment. This person's chairing the Relay for Life yet again. She's a 25-year resident of Hudson and has been married to her husband Mark for 25 years in September. They have 2 adult children, Nathan and Christina, and 3 cat children, Jasmine, Nala, and Belle. Apparently they like Disney. I think their next 7 cats will be named after the 7 dwarfs or something. Speaking of that, somebody asked me today when I got up this morning, they said, did you wake up grumpy? I said, no, I left her sleeping. And that's how the fight started. I digress. Sorry. Anyway, our chair has been chair of the committee for the Hudson Relay for the past 4 years, and in 2013 was selected to the Wisconsin State Leadership Board for the American Cancer Society, as well as being asked to participate and be part of the Wisconsin American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network Board. She walks in the relay for her dad, her grandmother-in-law, her uncle, and cousins and friends who have all been touched by cancer. 4 years of doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we should all stand up and recognize one of the special people who do so much to fight cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Kim Poppy.
Oh, wow, thanks. That's quite a reception. I just want to take a minute to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know that the weather, Mother Nature has a funny way of telling us that we need to do something different. I don't know. Speaking of different, we do want to make a quick announcement about what's going on tonight. We're going to continue with our program, as is in the program, through midnight, at which time we are going to shut down the school for the night because we've heard that there is a possibility of some additional bad weather coming through tonight, and we want everybody to be safe. So your safety is our first concern, and so then what we would like to do is invite everybody to come back after you've been able to rest in your own beds, and join us back here. We will open the doors again at 6 a.m., and we will have breakfast available, and we'll have somebody from the Y doing morning stretches, and then we will proceed on with our closing ceremony. So I would really, hopefully everybody will come back and understand that the changes, that it wasn't something that we wanted to do, but we are thinking of the safety of everybody here, and that everybody can get home safe, and hopefully we won't have the weather like we did last night, so. Anyways, I want to again welcome you to the 2013 Relay for Life of Hudson. For the last 100 years, the American Cancer Society has been one of the leaders in the fight against cancer with groundbreaking research and programs to help all those afflicted with cancer. In May 1985, Dr. Cordy Klatt ran and walked for 24 hours straight in what has become the first Relay for Life. Although it was not until 1986 that the team concept was formed that is going on till today. And that was really what the first official Relay for Life. And he had help with our mother of Relay, Pat Flynn, who I had the opportunity to hear speak at our leadership summit this past fall, which was very fun to have her there and hear her speak. During the past 100 years, there have been many changes and advances in the fight against cancer, and those changes continue today. Back in the early days, being diagnosed with cancer was almost always terminal, but with the continued research and advancements in treatment, 2 out of 3 are surviving today. Hudson started its Relay journey back as part of the Relay for Life of St. Croix County, which included New Richmond and Hudson Relators in August of 1993. The first Relay was held in EP Rock in Hudson. The next 6 years, the Relay moved to New Richmond. In the 2000, Hudson and New Richmond formed their own Relay events, and in those last 13 years, I'm pleased to be able to tell you that Hudson alone has raised over $2.5 million in the fight against cancer. So let's add some more to that tonight, right? However, change is inevitable as we continue this fight tonight as we celebrate 100 years of the American Cancer Society and in making cancer history. We look back at where we come from and see the changes that have been made over the last 100 years, and we can look forward and embrace the changes that are coming as we move into the next century. I encourage you tonight, if you haven't already, to like our Facebook page that we have, and be watching for any place that we put the news out there, but usually it comes out on Facebook first, for some exciting changes that will be coming on the horizon for the Hudson Relay as we look into the future. Now, let's make some noise and make cancer history. Okay, a little change there. It is my great pleasure to be able to introduce a young lady here tonight who is honoring her teacher, a former teacher here at Hudson Prairie. Her name is Jessica Iverson, and she has a story to share. Jessica?
One beautiful day when I was in the 3rd grade, I thought school couldn't get any better. Outside at recess, the breeze was refreshing and the smell of wet, freshly cut grass smelled magnificent. My friends and I ran that recess, chasing and chasing each other until our little feet couldn't run anymore. But just when I thought the fun couldn't stop, the most dreadful, most horrifying news came to all of us kids. This news turned in our world upside down and then backwards. I came in from a playful recess with my friends, Jenna and Rianne, and walked into my teacher's room. Miss Warnicke was the most heartwarming, thoughtful teacher who made you feel comfortable because there were pillows and wonderful decorations everywhere. When we came in, we knew that something was wrong because our spunky principal, Miss Prather, our generous counselor, Mr. Hansen, and our substitute teacher, Miss Hansen, were standing in the front of the class, and we knew that was a bad combination. We all knew that Miss Warnicke was gone because we had a substitute for a while, but we didn't think anything was seriously wrong. They started by saying, "Kids, don't worry, nothing's wrong." As time passed, my friends and I got impatient. We didn't think the news was going to be good. I could hear whispers of scared and nervous people coming from all around me. I became more and more nervous. Finally, Miss Prather unleashed the news. "Kids, there are always bad things that happen in life, and you'll just have to live through it." She paused and then started up again. "Your teacher has been diagnosed with breast cancer." I knew, and so did the rest of the class, that she had breast cancer once, but to have it again was unthinkable. When the principal's words sunk in, we all started to bawl. Some of the kids in my class wanted to act tough and not let their emotions show, but they couldn't hold it in for much longer. Also, to make matters worse, one of the boys named Brandon said with total cruelty, "She's going to die, so don't hope she'll live." That's when we all started crying harder, and we let the tears fall. At the end of that 3rd grade year, Miss Warnicke came to visit us. When I saw Miss Warnke, I was confused because she looked different, so I asked my mom. My mom told me it was because of the cancer that she looked paler, and because of the cancer, she had to wear a wig. That's when I asked her with sad intent, "Can we have a big party when you're done with your cancer?" "I hope," she replied with sincerity. Early during my 4th grade year, Mr. Hansen came in again to talk to us, but I didn't know it was about Miss Warnke. He told us that Miss Warnke was getting weaker and weaker, but they knew she had a little fight left in her. At that moment, I was turned into a helpless little girl again. I started to cry again and curled myself into a little ball. My teacher comforted me for a long time before I went to class. The next day, for the last time, Mr. Hansen came in with a depressed face and whispered something to my new teacher, Miss Schaefer, and left Miss Schaefer then told us with sorrow in her voice, "Everyone, early this morning, Miss Warnke could not hold up anymore. The cancer spread to many places that she couldn't manage anymore. She has passed." I understood the words that were spoken, but I just sat there in utter silence for the rest of the day. Miss Warnke taught me many things. When I was with her during the 2nd and 3rd grades, the biggest lesson I learned from her was summarized in a beloved quote that she frequently repeated. "When the world is screaming, give up. Hope whispers, keep on going."
Just so you know too, Jessica's speech is in this week's Star Observer, so if you'd like to read that, it's a pretty powerful story. Well done, Jess. Our next speaker has been in, she's retired now, but has been involved in corrections most of her life, and she recently told me a story here that repeats bearing to help introduce her. So back in the days when she was on beat patrol, patrolling the streets, she was sitting in a squad car in a very affluent residential neighborhood here in the area when a car was approaching the stop sign at the intersection. She recognized the expensive little red Italian sports car. It happened to be owned by one of the most arrogant, self-righteous, and pompous attorneys in town. I won't mention his name because I think you all know him. All right, I make some of this stuff up. But as the car approached the stop sign, it slowed down slightly, but it just cruised right through the stop sign. So the officer throws the lights on and the sirens and takes off after the attorney. Pulls him over, and he's furious after being stopped. And Karen, the officer, before she even says anything, he says, "What on earth are you possibly stopping me for?" She calmly says, "License and registration, sir." The attorney, becoming more furious by the minute, says, "But you know who I am? I'm an attorney. I know the law. I want to know why you stopped me." Officer Humphrey says, "Sir, the law says you need to come to a complete stop at the stop sign." The attorney, still agitated, says, "I did stop. And if I didn't, I at least slowed down. And that's good enough. I can certainly beat this in court if you're going to be stupid enough to pursue it. But I'll tell you what, Little Miss Perfect, if you can prove to me with an example of why there's a difference between stopping and just slowing down, then I'll pay the dang ticket and I'll be on my way." So Officer Humphrey tells the attorney to step out of the car. And with a smirk on his face, the little attorney, who stood about 5'2" with his custom-made alligator platform shoes weighing in at about $110, gets out of his Ferrari with a smirk on his face, thinking he beat the system again. Officer Humphrey, already towering over the attorney, takes her baton out of her belt and starts wailing on the attorney, beating 6 kinds of dog crap out of him. Black, blue, and bleeding, the attorney finally whimpers. Officer Humphrey leans over and whispers into his ear, "Now, do you want me to stop or just to slow down?" She is no stranger to the American Cancer Society and the Relay for Life. This exceptional individual is the chair of the Midwest Division Board of Directors and is also on the Wisconsin State Leadership Board along with Kim Poppy. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Karen Humphreys.
What he forgot to tell you is where I really first met John was when I was working in the jail. having me back. Of all the places I get to speak as a part of my volunteering for the American Cancer Society, Hudson is my hometown. Hudson is my favorite spot to come to, so I appreciate always being able to come back to Hudson. This year, the American Cancer Society is able to celebrate a 100th birthday, something that back when we first began, we never thought we'd be here 100 years later. But I will tell you that we're here to put ourselves out of business. And today we are winning the fight against cancer. That's a fact that 100 years ago would have seemed nearly impossible. It was a century ago this past May that the American Cancer Society began the fight of a lifetime, the fight to end cancer. And in that time, we've made life-saving progress that is nothing short of remarkable. When we began our work, cancer was a word spoken of only in whispers. A disease that was an almost certain death sentence. Today, we celebrate the milestone of a 20% reduction in the overall cancer death rates since the early 1990s. That translates to more than 400 lives saved, or 400 more birthdays per day for our survivors. And every day, that means that lives saved that would have been lost to cancer if not for the progress made against the disease. And what's more, today, we at the American Cancer Society believe we can finish that fight. We want to do it once and for all. As our organization celebrated its 100th birthday this past May in Atlanta, we're using this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to rally people everywhere to help us put the American Cancer Society out of business. Are you all with me? Doing all that we can to reach that goal, which means finding cures as the nation's largest private, not-for-profit investor in cancer research, ensuring that people facing cancer have the help they need, and continuing the fight for access to quality health care, life-saving screenings, clean air, and much, much more. With your help, we can do even more to help save lives, leaving no promising research study unfunded and no battle unfought. We've witnessed in 100 years that cancer thrives on silence, just like when the whispers happened, and complacency. Progress comes when we speak out, make noise, and take action. So never be quiet about cancer again. Birthdays mean different things to different people. But I hope that for all of us here who are here to help fight, to help finish the fight, celebrate every birthday, whether you are 1, 21, 50, or 83. We all need to make noise and celebrate every birthday. I, like a lot of women as I got older, wanted to forget birthdays. But my brother, when he was battling cancer, really made an impact on me. My brother John Kinney died when he was 30 years old. When he was 30, he was being interviewed for a job at Anderson's, and one of the questions they asked him was, what do you hope to accomplish in 5 years? And he said, I hope to be alive. He never made it out at the end of the year. I made him a promise then, and I'm going to keep that promise, that we finish the fight. And I again ask you all, are you with me to finish the fight? On behalf of the American Cancer Society Midwest Division, I thank each and every one of you for your support to the Hudson community and for all that you do to help us find a cure and finish the fight. Thank you.
Before we do the ceremonial torch lighting tonight, we have a couple of people. They are the honorary chairs for this year's event. So I'd like to call up Lynn Robson and Joe Loftus Lynn's one of my favorite people of all time, and I absolutely have nothing bad to say about her. Nothing whatsoever. Okay, let's hear it for Lynn and Joe. Okay, this is going to be like the Academy Awards. They're going to be doing an artificial torch lighting, so let's get some crowd noise here so it's believable. There we go. Joe, did you lose your hair? Lynn lost the eyebrows. Wow. Ceremonials can be dangerous. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next guest that we have is Ann Ripley, the Vice President of Operations and the Chief Integrity and Compliance Officer for Hudson Hospital. We have a substitution. I've had no time to prepare any bad jokes. But let's hear it for Robbie Hagelberg, Vice President of Operations, Chief Nursing Office, who will speak on behalf of Hudson Hospital.
Good evening, everyone. As John says, I'm Robbie Hagelberg. I'm the Chief Nursing Officer at Hudson Hospital and Clinics. On behalf of our employees, our volunteers, and our medical staff, I want to thank you for your courage and your support in this ongoing fight against cancer. Hudson Hospital and Clinics has been a major sponsor of this event since its inception. And as John and all of the speakers have commented, this is a personal journey for all of us. For me, this month marks the 18th anniversary of the death of my father from lung cancer. He was just 58 when he died, and there's still not a day that goes by that I don't miss him and wish that I had more time with him. So the partnerships that we all have with the Relay Planning Team and the American Cancer Society are truly critical in this fight against cancer, and we're honored to once again support this event. Sponsoring the Relay is one of the ways that Hudson Hospitals and Clinics fulfills our commitment to our mission, which is caring for the health of our entire community. So we serve communities throughout the St. Croix Valley, and one example of that is our partnership with 5 other hospitals in the region to provide local access to radiation therapy through the Cancer Center of Western Wisconsin and New Richmond. So 100 years ago, the American Cancer Society started this fight of a lifetime, and we're here tonight to celebrate, remember, and fight back, because together we can finish this fight. So it's a privilege for me to be here and to represent Hudson Hospital and Clinic. Thank you for your presence, and hope you enjoy the night, and again, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Robbie. Next up, we have the introduction of the 2013 Honorary Chair, Lisa Rambo. Now, if you didn't know Lisa Rambo, then you've had your eyes closed and your ears shut for the past year and a half. So, you know, Lisa, I'll read the bio here. Lisa has been married to her husband, Tony. Thanks, Tony. Is that your son? No? Okay. Tony is the pastor of River Community Church in Holton. He's been there for 15 years. Together they have 4 children. They have 3 boys, ages 6, 8, and 12, and a daughter that's age 10. With the exception of a 2 and a 5-year hiatus in California, she's always been able to call Hudson home. This year, one of Lisa's dreams came true when she was cast as a contestant on The Biggest Loser for season 14. She says her primary motivation for going on Biggest Loser was to be strong and healthy and a good role model for her 4 children. She remembers watching the show and making the eye-opening discovery that the starting weights of some of the contestants were very close to her own at 246 pounds. She realized that she needed to make big changes to avoid serious health problems down the road. Lisa has also been diagnosed with cervical cancer in June of 2008 and is now almost 5 years cancer-free. Her plan is to do everything she can to stay that way. Her poor diet, no exercise, and being a busy working mother of 4 all contributed to her weight gain and had left Lisa with little time and energy to take care of herself. She knew that needed to change, and inspired to work with special needs children by her aunt who has Down syndrome, Lisa is now a special education assistant at Hudson High School and could quite possibly have the greatest job in all of the land. Lisa has a new passion to share with others the amazing things that have happened in her life. She's also very involved in community activities and helps with community service activities for her church. Now that the weight is off, Lisa looks forward to hiking, canoeing, and enjoying other outdoor adventures with her family, and the possibilities are endless. Now I gotta tell you, she's had the title of Biggest Loser for, 1 year or something like that. I've had it, I'm 53, I've had the Biggest Loser title for 52 years. So there. Well, and I say 52 of 53 because my first year of birth, people said I was adorable. Lisa Rambo.
I am so excited to be here at Relay for Life. I'm a little over emotional today. I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming out and putting teams together and walking and raising funds for Relay for Life. The most amazing things are happening, as I was this year's been a crazy year for me. A lot of you got to see a lot of it on TV and been sharing a lot. This year in January, my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer. And through this process, I've been watching him and helping him. And it's crazy, We all, every single person in this room, all of us have been affected by cancer in some way, and that's why we're here. What's crazy is that there are amazing things that are happening. They're making great strides in cancer research. We're hearing stories every day where maybe it's possible that chemotherapy and radiation are going to be a thing in the past, and that's amazing. So I'm standing here from somebody who knows what it feels like to get a cancer diagnosis. I'm standing here from somebody who knows what it is to have someone that we love deeply in the heat of battle, because right now, those that I am closest to are. And I am here to tell you, thank you for putting the time and effort into being here tonight and raising funds and helping us find a cure for cancer. In this time on The Biggest Loser, the one thing that I learned is that dreams do come true and anything is possible. And I thank you all for coming and making the impossible possible. Because I do believe that if we all work together, we are going to find a cure for this crazy thing called cancer. And so I thank you for coming out to celebrate and to remember and to fight back, because we are never going to quit. So we're in it together, and tonight we're going to have fun, and we're going to raise a ton of money, and we're going to be a part of the answer to find the cure for cancer.
She keeps telling me I should go on the show. Maybe the view's different from back there, I don't know. Hey, dreams do come true. My wife lets me come home every night. So. And then the fight starts again. No, just kidding. Terry, don't tell her that. All right. We do thank everybody for coming here tonight. This is a celebration. We all have stories, we all have sad things, but tonight's a celebration. So we would like to do the survivors lap, and so if we could have the survivors, Kelly, would you like to start? Is Lisa going to start that? Lisa will start. And the first lap, and again, it's an abbreviated track here, marked by paper. There is no starter's pistol, so you won't be scared. But we're going to start the survivors lap. When you see the survivors come around the other side, the The second lap we'd like to have is the caregiver's lap. So if any of you are in a position like mine that you've been a caregiver, we'd like you to take that second lap as they come around. So all the survivors, let's go ahead and get up and we'll take that first lap. Again, as they come around, Skip here will probably start the music. And we are off there. You got it going, girl. You got it. All right. Yeah. Let's get this party